ahead of schedule. I'm not used to doing that so much as I would like to be, but I guess we might need to wait for, is it Mr. Moss and so on?
Yes, sir. If I'm, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, I think Mr. Moss may have sent a letter in to the court. I don't think he can be here, but I think he may have sent a letter indicating his thoughts on the case, Judge. And I think I have it right here. I don't know if the court has it, but I can read it to you or try to forward it to you.
Okay,
Whatever.
is there a pertinent paragraph or section or sentence in terms of any recommendation he might have?
I don't believe so, Judge. He just said, as to the above captioned matter, I regret I will be unable to attend the permanency hearing set for Friday, February 24th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. I'm registered to attend the Winning Strategy Seminar 2, a seminar hosted by the Federal Defender Service Office that will take place from Thursday, February 23rd, 2023 through Saturday, February 25th, 2023 in New Orleans, Louisiana. And then he signs it sincerely, Roger Neil Moss. So I don't believe he will be here, Judge.
Okay. All right. And as you read that, I do now recall seeing that letter from the by way of the coordinator. So it does not sound like he has had made arrangements for anyone to stand in for him. Do we do have CASA on the case? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I believe we do.
Okay.
Judge, do we have Laura Werta in the waiting room? She's actually on this case.
No, we don't, but let me make sure, because she was here earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And
we can probably get her pretty quickly, Judge, if you
I
want
just text her.
Okay, we'll certainly wait. Like I said, we're a little ahead of schedule, I believe.
Yes, better than being behind.
Absolutely. Makes me feel like we're forgetting something. So here Ms. Herta is.
Would you like me to proceed, Judge?
Yes, let me okay, there we are. Okay, so let me, I don't remember if I swore anyone in earlier, but we'll belt and suspenders it. So if you'll raise your right hand, Mr. Mark, whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, Judge. State would call Laura Huerta. Good morning, Ms. Huerta.
Good morning.
Can you introduce yourself to Judge Lockwood? Tell the judge what you do on this case.
Sure. My name is Laura Huerta. I work for Casa de Pines, and I'm the casework supervisor on this case.
Okay, and this is a child, LW, who I think is 11 or 12?
He's 11.
11. Can you go ahead and give Judge Lockwood a rundown on this case and just weigh in on behalf of CASA?
Sure. He has been in care a long time. The parental rights were terminated, 5 years ago, probably. He has some severe mental health issues. He has been in a lot of placements. I think he was most successful at Depelsion when he was there a few years ago. He made really good progress there. After that time, he went to a therapeutic foster home. He's been in a couple different types of placements. He again is in a residential treatment center. I saw him last week, and he calls often. And he's doing, I think, as good as he can do at this point.
And do you have any suggestions or recommendations for Judge Lockwood on behalf of CASA?
His caseworker has a good relationship with him too, and neither one of us are particularly fond of the placement he's in at the moment, although he is doing okay there. So I would like to see him in a different placement when we can find one, but also like to, he was in a therapy home for over a year and did really well there. He's been in multiple hospitals and RTC since that time, so I don't know if we can get back to that point, but that's what we want for him, to be back in a foster home type setting. I believe he is on TARE, and we haven't done an adoption staffing on him in a couple years just because his mental health has been so up and down.
Okay, anything else you'd like to say?
Just one other thing that the CPS worker and I have talked about is,
And that's Miss Sarah Watson, correct?
yes,
And we'll be hearing from her in a moment.
okay, good. He has siblings, and his mom is up north, I think in Illinois. Gosh, now I can't remember what state she's in. But I have talked to her, and I have talked to the dad of the girls, the siblings, and we've talked about it before, maybe starting that contact. I mean, it's been a long time since he's talked to his mom. Sometimes I think, what could it hurt to try to reintroduce them? She was, basically a kid when she relinquished her rights. He was a difficult child, and I don't know if that's something that we could. I just don't know. I feel like we need to do something more for him than what we're doing, and that is something that's out there and they're open to. But he does have some really serious mental health issues, and I don't know what that will do to him.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Judge, unless you have any questions.
Okay, I think I might. Thank you. Ms. Huerta, and certainly we'll hear from Ms. Watson, but do you know what his level of care is? Is it specialized?
I think he is specialized right now.
I guess one could reasonably infer, but what precipitated his move from the therapeutic foster home?
He went to the psychiatric hospital. And then at that point, the foster home, she was asking, and Sarah can speak to this more, she was asking for a child-specific placement contract for him. And it was just kind of a weird thing. I think it was a strange request for her to make when he had been in her home for so long. No one really wanted him to go back there after that.
What are his diagnoses?
He has adjustment disorder, mood disorder. He's ADHD. He at one point, his psychiatrist said he was schizophrenic, and I think that's what I think that he's schizophrenic, but they don't want to diagnose him that and label him with that so young still, I believe. But he has a lot of different disorders.
Okay. All right. And as far as you know, his meds are within guidelines.
Yes. In fact, when I saw him Sunday, he seemed really good. He was better than he had been when I saw him probably 6 weeks ago. I could have a conversation with him. We walked around, way more focused and in reality, kind of, than he was the last time I saw him.
Has he articulated any desire to have contact with his mother and or his siblings?
He does ask about them. He has not asked me if he could talk to them. I did give him some pictures. He said that he was forgetting what they look like. So I got him some pictures, and he had those. I need to get him some more because some of the other kids have taken his pictures, but I'm working on that. So I think he was happy with that. He has not asked me for more.
Okay.
More things. He has not asked me for contact.
Okay. And whom do the siblings live with? The mother or the father or someone else?
Someone else.
Okay. Or are they in state? Do you know?
They are in state. They're actually in Lufkin. They are with. He was never married to his mom, but I think the child considered him like a stepfather.
Any other questions, or if not, Mr. Mark, you may call your next.
Judge, the state would call Sarah Watson with the department.
Morning.
Can you introduce yourself to Judge Lockwood? Tell the judge what you do.
I'm Sarah Watson. I'm actually a PMC worker for the department, so I take primarily children that we have permanent managing conservatorship of.
As you mentioned, we are here on the LW case, who's 11. Ms. Huerta with CASA has already told the court a great deal about the child. Would you like to give your report on behalf of the department?
LW, sorry, is placed in the Baytown area. His placement is not my favorite. I am looking into trying to find a different placement, but they are meeting his needs. He's just having a lot of trouble with getting along with some of the other kids there. His medications are reviewed monthly by a psychiatrist. He's in weekly therapy and group therapy. In regards to the therapeutic foster home that he was in before, the caregiver had demanded that we do a child-specific contract because she said his needs were higher than specialized, but she couldn't take a child with a level of care higher than specialized. And she basically gave us the ultimatum to either give her a child-specific contract on him or she was not going to take him back after the psychiatric hospital. So after that, we had to move him. I kind of feel the same way that CASA does in regards to, we need to be doing something different. What we're doing right now is really not, he's kind of stagnant. He's not getting any better. He's not really getting any worse, but he's not getting any better. And I would definitely be willing to work on at least start some sibling visits if we could get that arranged with the parent that has those two siblings. He's told me the last time I saw him that he wanted to be adopted and he wanted to be adopted in a home with two siblings, preferably little girls that are about the age of his real siblings. He just didn't want them to have the same names as his siblings. He continuously tells me that he wants to be adopted, but at this time, putting him in an adoptive placement, I feel like would be a disservice for him because I don't think that he would be able to stay there.
And is that it, Miss Watson?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all I have, Judge.
Ms. Watson and Ms. Huerta, you seem to be in agreement that you would like to be doing something else to help. So is there anything else you can think of in addition to the possibility of some sibling visits?
We could ask his counselor, and I've talked to her about it before, introducing mom into some counseling with him.
Do we know much about mom's, condition or state of being?
I spoke to her, it's probably been 6 months ago. I've Facebooked with her a little bit. She has another child. She is working. She is supporting that child. She did say that she has grown up a lot since then, that she deeply regretted what she did, that she was very selfish and very young and stupid when she relinquished her rights to him, because she did it really early into the case.
You seem to indicate that she was also very young herself then.
She was.
How young?
I want to say she was 20 or 21.
Yeah, that's
young. And he was almost 4, I believe, when he came into care.
In talking to her back whenever you did you seem to get an indication that she might be open to the possibility of some sort of family therapeutic contact visits?
She did. My biggest concern is that she won't follow through, that she'll start it and then she won't follow through, because that would just be devastating to him, I think. She said she would follow through. She did probably 2 years ago, right at the department. He had a different caseworker then, and said she wanted, she was hoping for some contact with him. So the caseworker sent her a few, I can't remember exactly what she asked her to do, but just a few things she wanted her to do, like start writing him letters or sending him some cards. And at that point, she did not follow through with that. So when I spoke to the previous caseworker about it, she said, remember when she didn't follow through with writing the letters and things? I was like, yeah, I remember that. So it's it's a gamble. I mean, I'm not sure that she's going to do it, that she's going to follow through, but she says she will.
And just as far as you know or believe, do you think the mother fully appreciates or has some level of appreciation of LW's special needs?
I did not give her a lot of information. I told her that he is still him and he still has some mental health issues. But I didn't want to give her too much information just because I wasn't sure how she was going to handle it. I didn't want to scare her off, but I didn't want to not tell her anything either.
Still him. Okay, I get it. I appreciate that. Okay, anything else from anyone else?
No, sir. I think that's it for this case.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all very much for your long, hard, and good work for LW. The court continues the department as the permanent managing conservator. For now, the court approves of his current placement in the RTC. Now, in the meantime, the court would allow, as in May, the child may have sibling contact, even sibling visits, if the child's counselor recommends it and Mr. Moss, CPS, and Ms. Huerta are in agreement. So the planets are going to have to all line up. And I guess one of the big ones would be the custodian or custodians of the siblings would have to agree, obviously. So if those planets can line up, so to speak, before our next hearing, then you all may begin some sort of sibling contact. I'm going to order essentially the same for the mother with this, I think, important caveat. I want her to submit to some counseling prior to any contact, irrespective of what the child's therapist might say. So I want to do some groundwork with her because I think, I mean, you all know better than I, but it sounds like we cannot have another letdown, another maternal letdown, or not following through. If some therapeutic groundwork can be done with her, if she's amenable to that, and can get to a place where you all believe that she will in fact follow through, that it will be beneficial to the child, not, counterproductive or regressive, then some sort of therapeutic contact with her may happen if everyone's in agreement. And again, mom has had some therapy leading up to any sort of therapeutic contact with the child, if at all. But I'm kind of focusing on the possibility of sibling visits right now, some sort of contact. All right. If no one has anything else, then I will sign an order to that effect. And thank you all very much. Hearing. So if you'll raise your right hand, I'll get you sworn in quickly. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mark, whenever you're ready.
State is going to go to Ms. Cryer. So I'll go ahead and call Chantel Cryer.
Very good.
Can you introduce yourself to the court, spell your last name for the record, and tell us who you are?
I'm a CASA advocate. I've been an advocate for a few years now. Haven't been on the case very long.
And Ms. Cryer, we're on the JK case. I think JK is 17 or 18.
Yes, that's correct. 17.
Okay. Can you give Judge Lockwood the benefit of your knowledge of this case?
As far as I'm aware, JK was previously placed in a facility of some sort that he ended up running away from. and his mother found him, located him, and brought him to live with her against what was recommended by the department. And he's now living in a camper that doesn't have a lot of resources to buy.
And where's this residence located? Okay, near Tyler. Okay. So have you been in contact with the child, JK?
He has recently left me some voicemails, but whenever I call back, the service is disrupted. Either the phone doesn't ring or his mom answers and says that he's asleep.
Okay, and what is CASA's position on what should happen with this child?
Katrina, I know that he needs food and clothing. I'm not really certain if he will go into a different placement, but I do know that he has some needs that are not being met currently.
Okay, is there anything Judge Lockwood can do to assist, or anything the department can do, or anything CASA can do to help get this child's needs met that you know of?
I'm aware that he has some sort of Social Security funds. I think the fear is that it may not be used to his benefit.
Or
I
Ms.
really don't know where to start. It's a lot. Basically, JK was several months ago. He was in a shelter, and he did run away from the shelter with some other guys, and he did contact me, but he wouldn't say where he was, but he ended up contacting his mother, who has not cooperated with the department throughout this case, and we're several years in at this point. But she did go and pick him up, and she took him to a relative in Hawkins, Texas. Just so happens this relative's home was approved, and there was some, the best way I could say, there was some disagreement, very poor communication between the CVS worker at the time and the Mr. Chris Whitley. And so he never was placed there. The mother got him off the streets, took him to that RV park, and that's where he has been for a while now. He did come in to care because his mother reached out for the department for help years ago.
Mhm.
That's how he ended up in care back in 2018. And when he came into care, he was receiving a Social Security check. So of course that check stopped after he came into care. But my major issue now, and my major concerns now, is that he's 17. He won't be 18 until about 6 months or so. He is refusing to go back into a RTC. This young man has been bounced from RTC to shelter to RTC, and he's refusing to go back to a shelter in RTC. He wants to stay there with his mom. So the Department of Family Protective Services considered this an unauthorized or unapproved placement because his mother is there. His mother in the past would not drug test for the department, and that left her kind of outside of the case. But my concern now is I was told by the department that he cannot receive his Social Security check because he's in an unauthorized placement, which is I'm fine with. But what I'm not fine with is the department not stepping in if they don't give him the check, but use the check's funding for what he needs. This young man, since he's been with his mom in this placement, he's lost probably a couple of pant sizes. He does not have food. He has one shirt, 2 pair of shorts, and a hoodie that he received from his past caseworker just past December. So he was walking around just with one shirt and 2 pair of shorts. Each person that I spoke with the department, they continue to tell me he's in an unauthorized placement, so he can't get the funding. But my thing is, can we use the funding for his needs? My advocate did visit with him this past, was it January, I believe? And the refrigerator was completely empty. The lights are off and on. The water is on and off at times. And I don't understand him being in the department care and him not being able to get his needs met. I understand the fact he's in an unauthorized placement, but the department still have PNC and he needs help. I know his mom won't drug test for the department. It's been that way since 2018, but she got him off the street. She got him in a place where at the time water and lights was running, and she needs help. And if we can't give her help, can we monthly see to it that he gets food? Can we see to it that he has clothes? I've sent out an email just as recently as the 21st, and I didn't get a response or a reply at all from the department. And I'm saying all this to say, Judge, I do understand what they mean about the Social Security check. I do not understand some way, somehow not meeting his needs. If we can't give him the money, I understand that. Let's get him food monthly, because the young man is in a bad place right now. But he's safe. He's not off the street. So I do commend his mom for that, getting him off the streets.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to let Judge Lockwood know, Ms. Mitchell?
That's it for now.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Wells?
I have no questions of Ms. Mitchell. I can give you some background that I'm aware of if you are interested in that, sir.
I certainly am. But first, let me ask, follow up a little bit with Ms. Mitchell. This Chris, is he still somewhere around in the picture, or has that train left the station?
He's in the picture. They are actually living in his RV.
Okay.
Where he works, he spends the night. He doesn't have to spend the night at his RV. He spends the night, and he's basically kind of just allowing them to stay there. But he was willing to take on, the best way I can say it, there was a major communication issue between the CVS worker at the time and him, and I played mediator several times, and their conversation always went to naught, and he never did get placed there.
Okay, about how long was that ago?
Months now.
Month or
yes,
year?
sir. It's been some months, and the CVS worker that was on the case, his last day was the 31st, so he's no longer on the case at all.
So was a full-blown home study done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and do you know if that was approved?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay, do you know whether the child is amenable to going to live with Chris Whitley if Mr. Whitley is still amenable to that? And it sounds like he might be living at his job some, Mr. Whitley, so I don't know how that factors in, if at all. But
I have not had a conversation with Mr. Whitley for about 3 months now. So I would have to follow up with him, but I do know Mr. Whitley is allowing them to continue to stay in his RV.
okay, Ms. Cryer or anyone, do we know whether, I mean, does Mr. Whitley, is he sensitive and responsive to, whether they have any food, utilities? I mean, just in terms of a welfare check type situation at this point.
JK does not want to leave his mother. He is insistent on staying with her. However, that's where the difficulty lies. He wants to stay with his mother, but she isn't approved by the department.
Is the child in school?
he has a laptop that the department had provided, but his Wi-Fi is not acceptable so that he can attend school online as planned. However, he would like to get his GED once things become available to him, if ever.
Okay.
Ms. Crawford is going to testify on behalf of the department, Judge, if I may.
Very, very good. Thank you. Let me make sure, Ms. Crawford, you were sworn in. Okay. All right. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Ms. Crawford.
Good morning. I am the Region 5 Legal Program Specialist.
And I understand, Ms. Crawford, you will be testifying on behalf of the department for the child, J.K., who is 17.
Yes.
And I know you were present and you heard the testimony of Ms. Cryer and Ms. Mitchell. Do you have a response on behalf of the department? And more importantly, can you give the department's position on J.K.?
Yes. So JK is in a continued unauthorized placement, as we are not able to authorize that placement due to him being with his mother. We are not able to complete any kind of home study with her due to her not cooperating as far as drug testing. He is 17, as Miss Mitchell and Miss Wells, Chantel also has talked about. He's been from placement to placement, and his mother has been able to provide him a place off the streets. Essentially, he had been on runaway. I would like to address the Social Security issue. So when a child is not in an authorized placement, those funds cannot be released to the child. However, we are able, the department is able to reach out to our Social Security specialists with specific needs, where we can purchase clothing, shoes, those kind of things. It sounds like that has not yet been done, but it is something that we are able to do. So we cannot release those funds directly. However, we can specify exactly what JK needs and have those items ordered and shipped directly to him. As far as food goes, that is something absolutely that's a concern to the department, and we will be reaching out today, Your Honor, to do a welfare check and also see what the circumstance is at this very moment. If food is needed, that's something that we can assist and address at that time.
And Ms. Crawford, is there anything else that you think is pertinent that you would like to pass on to Judge Lockwood?
We will also review the home study. I know it was approved. However, as CASA and Ms. Wells has stated, JK does not want to leave his current placement with his mother. But we can definitely, it sounds like we need to come together, the department with the parties, and possibly have a meeting with JK as well, similar to a circle of support, so we can address these things, our concerns, and see how we can address the needs that he has right now.
And let me ask you this, Ms. Crawford, just for my own edification and maybe the court's edification as well. What is the issue that the department has with the mother? Not being argumentative, I just don't know.
Correct. So the department's concern, one, is based on, of course, his original case the original reason he came into care and why rights were terminated. And we know we have the option to reach out and work with parents. However, she is not, it's my understanding that she has not been cooperative as far as drug testing goes.
Okay, so you have suspected drug usage issues, I guess.
It's my understanding that the department had concerns with suspected drug use.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but if this were just another child and another placement, and you had a biological parent or a foster parent who refused to drug test, you would have the same concerns, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you. Ms. Crawford, or anyone who can tell me, does the child have any disabilities, special needs? And I'm wondering, the origin of the Social Security.
He does have, he has a psychiatric diagnosis, Your Honor.
Does anyone know whether he is maintaining his meds, if any?
He's not. Oh, can I speak? I'm sorry.
You may. So does he have a prescription?
He has a prescription. His mom got him off the streets in September. But yeah, around early September. And ever since he's been with his mom, he has not taken any of his medication. His medication is normally to help him, I guess I could say, kind of stay calm. Otherwise, he gets really, really angry at times. And he has not had those meds. His mom says he's been okay. And he does not want to be on the medication. He's always had issues. I've had this case for years now, and he's always had issues off and on about taking his meds on a consistent basis. But
Okay.
I know it was mentioned, I don't believe his mom's rights has been terminated. As long as I've been on this case, I've never gotten documentation of that. But I do concur that originally the case started because she reached out to the department for help, but she chose not to test for the department. I think in all of these years, what we're going on 5 years, I think early on, she may have tested for the department once or twice, very, very early on. And from that point on, she wouldn't even participate in the conferences and things of that sort. I think the last conference she participated in was probably about 2.5 to 3. No, it's been over 3 years ago because it was before COVID, for sure.
Right. Do we know whether the mother is employed?
She's not employed. She receives, I don't know, she receives a little check. I think she said it's about $800 a month. I don't know what type of check that is, but she, according to, we communicate pretty often, and I don't think she's had a job in years.
Do you know whether Mr. Whitley is charging them any rent, or
Their rent is $500 a month.
do we know if they have mom and or child has transportation? Reliable?
They do not, and the mother have a vehicle either. Driver's license, excuse me.
Yes, when she picked him off the streets in the Rosenberg area where he ran away from the shelter, she actually paid somebody to drive her to Rosenberg and then drive her to Hawkins, Texas, which is near Tyler.
Okay, well, of course, I'm also.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Ms. Mitchell.
I was just going to say, if I could just say one other thing. I do understand the policy of the department. I'm not saying that at all. I do understand. But I have been since September, since he's been on the street, conversing with representatives from the department about the need for food and clothing. And it just hasn't happened. And we're at February. And I agree, honestly, I agree that the money should be put in their hands. I do understand that. I'm just saying that if you all have if you are this child's permanent managing conservator, we have, do they not have the responsibility of taking care of his needs? If he's going to stay in care, because if we're not going to take care of, I'd rather we give his mom PMC, allow him to get his check himself. At least he can have food, shelter, and clothing. And I know that's outside of the box of what policy, the way these cases are normally handled, but we are allowing this young man to be here without food, literally with minimal clothing.
Again, Judge, I don't have any questions. I do have a little bit of background information.
Okay, very good. You may proceed with that. Mhm.
Thank you, Judge. JK came into care in September of 2017. And at that time, his mother stated she no longer wanted him in her home and she wanted to relinquish her parental rights. So that was an initial huge problem for him. He does have anger issues, and part of his anger issues is he wants to be with his mother. That's the reason the parental rights were not terminated, because he was insistent that he keep parental rights. And so instead of terminating the rights, we just did PMC to the state. He's been in multiple RTCs. He gets in fights. He gets in trouble. He won't do his schoolwork. He will tell you all the right things, and then he'll turn around and do none of what he says. I spent a day with him in last June, took him to eat, talked about, hey, you know, you're going to turn, he was turning 17 in August, so he'll turn 18 in August this year. You've got to learn to be an adult. And we talked about things he wanted to do. He talked about considering wanting to learn to be an electrician. I talked about it was important, you know, you learn to write cursive because nobody teaches kids cursive anymore. And he thought that was cool. So I sent him ordered and sent him a book on how to write cursive. We worked on getting him the books to study for the GED, and those were provided to him. Then he was placed in a RTC in San Antonio, and then ran away again. He really likes gaming. He's like a lot of these young boys these days. He likes playing the gaming stuff. But he did talk about the electrical wiring and that kind of thing. And I was trying to explain to him that is an incredible career. But getting him to follow through on anything has been the issue. But from the very beginning, it was really frustrating because the mom brings him in and says she wants to relinquish rights. And he's been adamant since day one. He does not want her rights terminated and that he wants to be back with her. And there have been times when he was supposed to, you know, she was supposed to contact him. He doesn't contact him. He has his anger issues. He gets in fights, gets in trouble in the RTCs. We need to provide him food. We need to provide him food and we need to provide him clothing. But again, he's going to turn 18 in August. And if we moved him to another RTC, I would almost bet a career on he would turn around, run away, and go back to his mom.
Thank you very much. Ms. Crawford, how soon? Actually, I'm thinking today, but how soon could we get somebody from the department out there to do a welfare check? And
Your Honor, based on the concerns that I've just heard, I absolutely agree that we will have somebody out there today.
Is there any way CASA and/or Ms. Wells can accompany you, meet you, do the same? Because we need to get some of these funds flowing for food. And if he's not been on his meds and he's gone down 2 pant sizes, that's obviously concerning to all of us. Now, I don't, of course, I'm not envisioning or suggesting any cash be placed in either of their hands, of course. but just basic necessities, food and clothing right now.
If the department finds that there are serious safety concerns with his current placement, would we need to have a placement review hearing prior, as he has been so adamant to stay with his mother? And I just say that because I am not 100% sure what we are going to discover today. Of course, it sounds like this placement needs support to maintain its integrity. And I think everyone here, or at least CASA and ad litem, feel like this is probably our best option, as you just heard, as far as going back to an RTC he would likely run. I know personally I've been able to spend a pretty good amount of time with JK as he was in DFPS supervision without placement for a good while last year. That would be my only concern, is if there is a significant safety issue that's presented in the department. Feels like even with support, that placement would not be in his best interest. Would we need to have an emergency hearing to discuss that?
Well, I will leave that for you to speak with Mr. Mark about. I mean, it very well may be that you get out there and you have to make an intake. What I'm concerned, I mean, I don't expect this to be, close to being a place that the department could ever approve of. Right now, we're just talking about the necessities of life. I mean, he's 17, less than 6 months, he'll be 18. So I just want to get some food and clothing flowing really today. And I apologize, I don't know the logistics or the miles involved.
We'll try to attend with her if you'd like. As far as safety concerns, not that great either. However, the main concern is the water and electricity goes off and on throughout the month. So he is only able to shower when the water is running.
Okay, well, maybe the department can do something about that with the Social Security funds, and maybe you all can bring some food, have some food delivered, and maybe get his sizes and be able to ship him some clothes by way of those funds.
Your Honor, I believe supervisor on the case, Kristen Fowler, may be in the waiting room.
Yes.
And may I add this, Judge? JK is a large boy. And even if he has lost 2 pant sizes, he's still going to be a large boy. And I'll just have to say that a removal would probably require 2 or 3 police officers. He's not going to go. He's not going to leave willingly. And it'd be hard to drag him out of there. But we do need some food and clothes, and I don't know what else.
Well, I'm not even countenancing anything that comes close to a removal. We know where he is, and we assist in his needs. I mean, a removal would just be futile exercise in futility and perhaps dangerous. The court will order the welfare check for for today. And as the managing conservator, permanent managing conservator, the department will utilize those Social Security funds to meet his needs and necessities in terms of utilities, food, and clothing. Yes.
Since Ms. Fowler is here, I'd like to see if she wants to say anything to the court about this case. Is that a no? I think she's. Is there anything?
I'm not sure if there's anything new that needs to be added. I heard what Judy was saying, how it would be almost impossible to remove him. He's not going to go willingly at all. He's going to stay there, and we just need to help him as much as we can while he's there.
Yeah, and I think.
Okay. So you're on board with CASA and the judge, correct?
Yes.
Well, obviously, if an intake needs to be done, an intake needs to be done. But I wouldn't, if I were him, I wouldn't go either, and it'd probably be just as hard removing me as it would be him physically. So I think you all know what to do. You're on top of it, and so I appreciate that immensely. It is, you know, the proverbial village and all hands on deck, I think. So we just need to get something in that fridge and some utilities going, and then there's the whole education piece. And I like what Ms. Wells was, you know, in terms of the GED and you know, a career path. So, all right. Well, thanking you for bringing Johnny come lately up to speed on this. I appreciate it very much. Okay. All right. So PMC is going to be continued with the department. The court will note the unauthorized placement declines at this time, seeking to remove the child from that placement. Ms. Wells, if the child wants to speak with me, then just make an application, and I will somehow carve out some time to do that.
Yes, sir. I've had issues getting in contact with him, but I will continue to try. And I'm not able to go today. I have got a full schedule.
Well,
all of this week is crazy.
I certainly understand. I certainly understand. So, all right. Well, thank you all very much. Young adult. Okay, very good. Let me get everyone who may testify. Ms. Rawls, if you don't mind terribly going ahead and let me swear you in just in case you're called. We get you to raise your right hands, everyone, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God. Yes, yes.
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 Yes, yes, yes. Okay, that's everybody. Thank you. Mr. Martin, call you first.
Thank you very much, Judge. Looks like it's Kristen Fowler.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was covering, but I can cover too, so it's fine.
Okay, so the state will call Kristen Fowler, Judge. Good morning, Ms. Fowler.
Hi, good morning. Yes, supervisor for this case.
Okay, Ms. Fowler, as the judge mentioned, we have 3 kids, MR, who is approximately 18, JR, who is approximately 14, and AR, who is approximately 11.
Yes.
Can you give Judge Lockwood the benefit of your knowledge about this case?
Sure. So the oldest child is actually in trial independence, the one that we have the services review on. So she's not with CPS, she's off on her own. We don't provide any services for her at this time. And AR are with their aunts. They're doing well. They're up to date on all their medical and dental. We don't have any concerns with their placement. We have been trying to transfer PMC to their placement. We've had a agreed order circulated, and so that's what we're at right now. We're just trying to give PMC to the current caregiver.
And I think that the holdup was Judge James wanted the caregiver herself to sign the order, correct?
Yes, and we have actually had her sign a signature page to that effect, so.
Oh, well, can you send that to me then?
Okay,
I think I need that unless Ms. Crawford has already taken care of that. Is there anything else you think Judge Lockwood needs to know?
Not at this time.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Mr. Flournoy.
Judge, I have no questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mark, you may call your next.
Your Honor, the state would call Benita Sheffield Duffield.
All right.
Good morning, Miss Sheffield Duffield.
Good morning.
Can you introduce yourself to the court, tell the court what you do?
I am the CASA volunteer, the advocate, and I've been on this case quite a while. I believe the three were back in care around September 2020. And so I have been, doing visitations and with the children at the school, following up on their, grades periodically, meeting their teachers. So, and the placement has gone very well. It's their aunt. It's not someone that they're a stranger to. So everything's going very well.
And you've heard Miss Fowler's testimony. Anything about that you disagree with? Or?
No, not at all.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to add on behalf of CASA?
No, nothing beside the recommendation, the PMC recommendation on Ms. Kim Ross.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Flournoy.
I have no questions, Judge.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sheffield Duffield. Any other witnesses, Mr. Mark?
State would rest, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any witnesses, Mr. Flournoy?
Judge, I'll go ahead and call Kim Rawls.
All right, Ms. Rawls, we'll get you unmuted there.
Judge, state your name.
Kimberly Rawls.
And Ms. Rawls, since our last hearing that we had in this particular case, are the children still doing well?
Yes.
Are there any concerns that the department needs to be concerned about at this point?
Not at the moment.
Okay, and you're ready for this for this transfer of PMC at this point in time and prepared to do so?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mark. Any questions?
No questions for Ms. Rawls, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Any other witnesses, Mr. Flournoy?
No, Judge.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Rawls. Okay. And so that is transferring PMC of the two youngest. Is that correct to both of them, Mr. Mark?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Judge. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. So, Mr. Mark, once that order is all the signatures or assembled, if you will forward that to Judge James, coordinator, and she'll consider that. And if there's not anything else, I believe that concludes the docket. All right. Well, I kind of feel like I must have done something wrong if we're through so early. So if I did, somebody will let me know. So it's been a pleasure. Look forward to, I think I'll be with you all next, apparently in person, on April the 28th.